Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you have joined us tonight on this Beyond the Basics call. We love sharing about more ways and uses of essential oils. My name is Erlene Tilton, and I just love essential oils and the wonderful things that they are doing for us. So tonight we are going to talk about skin and some of the challenges with skin. And I have so much information to go over, so we are going to get right into it and see how much we can learn tonight, because there's so much to learn when it comes to our skin. So we're first going to talk about abrasions. So there's abrasions of all kinds, and what do you do? So I will say, when there's abrasions, there is one thing that I'm grateful that we have, and that is our On Guard hand foaming wash. This is such an amazing thing to have, because it's better than any of those antibacterial soaps. It is wonderful. I have them in every one of my sinks in my home, and I feel like this gets you clean. The nice thing with my, whoops, I'm going to mute you. Make sure you mute yourself. Got a broken arm here. One more week of this, but so it's hard for me to demonstrate it tonight, but just, it comes out in the foaming hand wash. Sorry, broken hand not working very good, but the foaming hand wash is really good for being able to, and you don't even have to wash it off. Of course I do, but it's really good to rub on those any type of abrasions. You want to make sure and clean, and then you're going to follow with several oils, or one of your choice of oils, depending on what it is. Now, most abrasions you want to keep from getting any type of infection, and that's why you start with the On Guard foaming hand wash. And you're going to melaleuca, well, whether you tea tree. This is really, we call this the first aid in a bottle, because it really is going to help keep that area clean. And you want to make sure that you have that. Lavender is also really good for soothing. And so lavender is actually a very, very important choice for any type of skin abrasion. I know I've said this on some of our classes before, but I remember my daughter, my sister one time said that every time her children would fall down, she would go give them an aspirin. And I'm going, are you kidding me? This is, of course, 20, 30 years ago. And I said, why would you do that? And she says, well, it hurts. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm so glad that we have lavender essential oil, because it really does the same thing. It's very calming and very soothing to any type of skin abrasion. So make sure that you remember that calming. You don't need aspirin, you need lavender. So also for skin abrasions, we would definitely want, okay, I lost my place. My phone went off. One thing that is worth its weight in gold, literally, is helichrysum. Now, I always tell people, this is a $75 bottle, but you would never want to be without it when it comes to first aid, because remember, helichrysum is for healing, and that's not compliant, but I'm telling you the truth. Helichrysum is for healing, and it's an excellent oil for any type of conditions that need healing. Hello? As I always like to share, when people ask me why essential oils, I tell them that essential oils accelerate all our natural bodily processes. So if you want healing, if you want cleansing, if you want to increase digestion, if you want calming, tension, whatever it is, you're going to accelerate the process with essential oils. And this is what this will do. It's giving the tools your needs in order to heal itself. That's what it's doing. But this especially is really good for any type of cut and sore. But you don't want to add it before you make sure and take care of getting rid of the pathogens, cleaning it well. You don't want it healing before you clean it and get it free from any type of bacteria or anything that might um, be a problem. So make care of that. Now, we also have an amazing thing that I think is really, really important for everyone to know about in case you don't. That is called Correct-X. Now, this is a little ointment. It's in a tube, and um, it's in a base that is non-petroleum. I was super excited when they introduced this at convention. I thought, oh my gosh, if it's in petroleum, I'm going to scream. But it's not. I tell you, I can't read it. So I don't remember what the base is. It's so small, but it has frankincense, helichrysum, cedarwood,
Jojoba.
melaleuca, jojoba oil.
Yes.
Okay, great. Melaleuca, and then lavender. So it's got those 5 essential oils, so exceptional for taking care of any of those issues. So you don't have skin antibiotic ointments. We have Correct-X. And it's now can also be, I'm going to talk about it later for some other areas, but this is amazing. Now, I think for abrasions and all kinds of skin issues, we're going to talk about a lot of them, but so like it's the highest frequency oil. It's got all of our most expensive oils in it. Did you get that? I can't tell what you got and what you didn't. So it's got the frankincense, the myrrh, the helichrysum, the rose, sandalwood, and then lavender. So it's such a powerhouse oil. Any type of skin issues, this is really good for.
Can you spell it?
Question?
Okay, this is the Immortel you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Immortel.
Okay.
Please spell it. What it is.
Oil.
IMMORTELLE.
Thank you.
Immortel. Yep. Okay. Yes, valuable oil. Like I said, I'll share a little bit about that in a minute. You'll see a lot of wonderful things that it is ways it's used. Okay, talking about bumps and bruises. So first of all, I remember my husband coming home from having an ATV accident, and he was super swollen. So the first swelling is for swelling. It will turn your hands yellow, but lemongrass is excellent to take down. You can almost see it go down. So lemongrass is really good for any type of swelling. Now also for any types of bumps and bruises is helichrysum. Helichrysum is really good for bumps and bruises, and it's also good for swelling. I had one mom that said, I remember telling her that she said her boys were wrestling in the, as boys do, and one of them kneed the other one right in the head, and he came running in, and she said it looked like an egg was on his forehead. And she said she put that helichrysum on, and she said, I just kind of watched it just go back down. She said it was amazing how well the helichrysum works. So helichrysum, really good for bumps and bruises. Okay, next is nosebleeds. And I have found for any type of bleeding, cuts, sores, whatever, any type of bleeding, helichrysum is your go-to. Like I said, it's one of our most expensive oils. You make sure you have this oil because it is one of the most important things that you want in your first aid kit. So for bleeding, first of all, for nosebleeds, just apply it right here on your nostrils. My sister came to visit me once, and she went outside to get bring in her luggage and stuff, and she was out there for about 10 minutes. And I thought, what the heck is going on? Why is she out there so long? And so I went out there to see what was going on. And she was kind of standing over by the car just with her nose down. And I thought, what's going on? She says, well, I can't get my nose to stop bleeding. So I came and, I went and got some towels and stuff. And she came and sat down on a bench I had outside. And she kept sitting there and it just kept bleeding and bleeding. And so I ran and got my helichrysum and I just put it on the sides of her nose, and literally within about 15, 20 seconds, her nose stopped bleeding. So it was just really, really good to have that experience because it worked really, really well. So helichrysum. Now, if you get nosebleeds a lot, now there are people that get nosebleeds often, and I have found that if the heat is too high or in the night, I will get dry nostril, and it's always my right nostril. So what I've learned is go get a Q-tip and put a little bit of fractionated coconut oil on that Q-tip and actually put it up into your nostril and just moisten the inside of your nostril with the fractionated coconut oil, and then you won't get the nosebleeds. So at least for a couple of nights. And if it's still too hot, I don't like heaters on at night when it's cold. So because of that reason. But anyway, helichrysum is your go-to for nosebleeds. Any questions so far? Okay, so we're going to go on to cuts. Now, I have a granddaughter that 3 times in 2 months fell and split her head open. I think she was about 4 or 5 when she did that. But the 3rd time, my daughter called me and she says, Mom, what do I do? I'm afraid they'll call CPS if I take her into the emergency room for the 3rd time in 2 months. So she says, what would I do? And I said, do you have helichrysum? And she said, yes, she found it. And I was so grateful. All she did was kind of do this 2 or 3 times, and she dotted it right on the cut, and she said it was just like magic. It was just like I could see it pulling it cut together and sealing it shut. And that's what helichrysum does. It will stop the bleeding, number 1, and number 2, it pulls it together and seals it shut. Now, if it's a high use area, you will have to put like a what do they call that? What do they call that Band-Aid?
Butterfly?
Butterfly, yes. And you can cut your own butterfly. I've done it many times. So you can make your own butterfly bands. But if it's in a not some high use area, for instance, on the forehead, you don't have to use water. There's not a whole lot of use there.
Tip of the iceberg.
Okay, we need to make sure and mute anybody that might be having background noise. So, but for something like, I cut my finger this last week, and that's a high use area. Always washing your hands, and it's always moving. You want to make sure and get a butterfly on it. So I put the helichrysum on, put the butterfly on, and it did really well, at least for the first day and a half, until I washed my hands too many times. So it's a little harder when that happens. So helichrysum, remember, that is the best thing for cuts and sealing it shut. Next is burns. And I have learned this for 1st to 3rd degree burns. The best go-to is absolutely lavender. Lavender is one of the best things for burns. I always say every household in America should have doTERRA's lavender. And you know what? I've had some of my friends try other bottles of lavender, and they don't work. They don't work. Only doTERRA's. So this is amazing. I remember my daughter, Shayla, fell asleep in the sun once. And she came in, and I just put this on straight on her back. And in a few hours, that there was it was still red, And I put it on 2 or 3 times that afternoon, evening. By the next day, you could not even tell that she was burned. So this is a great thing for burns. Now, I have what I call a sun skin protection oil. And this is a bottle of oil that I make sure that I have all the time. So I will give you this recipe. And the reason I value this so much is because you can use it before and after the sun. Most people are using all kinds of sunscreens, and I'm telling you, I would never use a sunscreen. Sunscreens are dangerous. They have more harming agents in them than positive. They are doing more damage to your skin than they can protect. In fact, studies show that they create more free radicals than they prevent. Don't use sunscreens. Plus, you're blocking the vitamin D from the sun. So you do want something to protect your skin, but not screen the sun. We need to be smart when we're in the sun, but don't use sunscreens. Like I said, above all, they have dangerous ingredients. So here's what the recipe is for this sun protection oil. What I do is I get this bottle, which is the fractionated coconut oil bottle. It has 4 ounces, and either I have it down part way or whatever. I always say save all your bottles, but you want 2 ounces, so you want it about halfway. 2 ounces of fractionated coconut oil, and fractionated is where the solid parts are removed. So this is always liquid at all times of the year, okay? And to this, I'm going to add 20 drops of lavender essential oil, 8 drops of helichrysum essential oil. So you've got 20 of lavender, 8 drops of helichrysum, 4 drops of myrrh. Myrrh is really good for protecting your skin as well. And then another 4 drops of either Roman chamomile, there's Roman chamomile, or 4 drops of rose touch. Now people say, well, how do I get it out? Well, you can get the orifice out of the rose, or the roller out of the rose. So 4 drops of that. So, and then you just put it in here. And not only, like I said, it's great to do before you go out in the sun. It's a protection instead of sunscreen, and then use it again after you come back in out of the sun if you've gotten just a little bit pink or so. Really good. Now I will, well, I'll share. What's that?
Can you double the recipe and
absolutely
have a bottle?
You could do that as well. I think you could fit all those drops in there. Yep. So what I do when I go hiking, I don't want to take this whole thing. I have it in a roller bottle. And when I go hiking, I just plain old roll it up my arms, roll it kind of around my face, around my neck, you know, and then I just kind of pat it around and whatever. But I just roll it on, and I have several roller bottles. I really like putting it, you know, I make it in a bigger bottle, but then I put it in roller bottles for personal use. And I'm telling you, it works great. And I take it everywhere I go. You could do it in a spritzer bottle or whatever, but I just like it in the roller bottle, and then I can take it everywhere I go. So comes in very handy, and it will come in handy, especially come summertime. So keep that recipe handy and make sure that you have it to protect your skin, because our skin is the largest organ of the body. We want to protect our skin. We just want to keep it nourished, and we don't want to add extra toxins on it by adding toxic substances. Okay, so rug burns. My grandson got a rug burn this week, and this was what, 3 or 4 days ago, Friday, so that's 4 days ago. Now I showed this on my 28 days of free giveaways page to my team. That was my grandson's leg, and he actually, it wasn't a rug burn, it was actually a treadmill burn. Has anybody ever gotten on a treadmill and then you decide you wanted to jump off without turning it off? Well, don't do that. That's a bad idea. I did it once. I was at a convention and I went to the hotel lobby, and I was on the treadmill going along and my cell phone rang, and without thinking, I decided to just turn around and jump off, and it just threw me for a loop. That's not a good thing to do. That is still going. So my grandson did that this week. He was on and, you know, just going along, but my daughter turned around and he decided to jump off, and, you know, it's not a good thing. So his leg got actually caught, and the treadmill's still going, and it just left a huge sore on the inside of his leg. So she called me. Actually, she started putting things on. She actually rubbed some aloe vera gel on that she had, and it was making him just scream. And so she called me. She says, I'm really trying to deal with this, help. So what I told her to do is get a spritzer bottle. The only one she had was the On Guard spritzer. And I said, wash it out good. You don't want any On Guard to get on him. But I said, just start small. I don't know how much you're going to use this. You can double and triple it later, but start small. 30 drops of fractionated coconut oil, 20 drops of lavender, and 10 drops of helichrysum. And so she started spritzing that on. Not only did it provide great relief, but it looks very nice. It is healing well. It's darker now, but it's the darker scab right now. But one of the nights, a couple of nights ago, she thought, well, maybe I will just try the first aid burn cream on it. And she did that before my grandson went to bed. And actually that was a bad idea because the sheet stuck to it. And then she tried to pull the sheet off, and all of that opened up. And it was just a terrible mess. So she went back to just spritzing this combination, the 30 fractionated coconut oil, 20 lavender, 10 of helichrysum, and just spritzing it on. Great, the swelling has gone down. And by the way, use that other. Now, I had someone just say last night, they said, yeah, no, I've got unstable connection. Can you still hear me okay, everybody? Wave if you can hear me. Okay, good. All right. Someone was saying last night, that's really dangerous. You might have to go get skin grafts. And, you know, don't scare him. Don't scare my daughter. The fact is, you use that formula, you won't be having skin grafts. You won't have any infection. You won't have the problems. It will heal nice and normally if you just do that. Don't try other things. And I know our essential oils work, and it really does work. So, and I'm glad she took my advice and really did do that. And it's been doing great. Okay, let's talk about rashes. And I know, Myrna, you had just showed your picture of your rash on your knees. Let me go over what I suggest for rashes. And I'm going to have my daughter share an experience, what she did for her baby. And then we'll talk about yours, Myrna, and see if we can get to the bottom of what you're dealing with. So rashes, most rashes, if you have breakouts in your skin, any type of rash, it's basically your skin trying to detox. You have to know that. So you've got to understand this is an internal issue. It's not necessarily a topical issue. You're only treating the symptom. The symptom is the rash, but that is telling you, remember, our skin is the largest organ of our body. And if you've got a rash, that means something internally is going on. So the best thing that you can do, and I tell people, when you've got a rash, the first thing you do is got to detox. Increase your water. And that's where lemon essential oil comes in really, really handy. We've got to pull those toxins out of your body. And this could be toxins from food you're eating or sensitivities. It could be toxins from just a lot of chemicals in your diet. It could be toxins from a disease or a virus. So whatever it is, let's cleanse your body. Another really, really important thing is our endocrine. Our endocrine, remember this is our 5-organ cleanse, and that's, our skin included. The 5 organs is our colon, our liver, our kidneys, our lungs, and our skin. This is such an important blend. So you could either add this topically. A way that I prefer taking it is in the soft gel. I love the soft gels because you can take them, you don't have to taste it. And I can tell you, of all of our essential oils, there is one that I cannot tolerate the aroma of. A lot of people love it, but for some reason I have a real problem with that, and it's geranium. And it is in this formula. I love geranium benefits, but I cannot stand the aroma. I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but I love taking the soft gels. In fact, I take 1 or 2 every day. I feel like we always need to be cleansing our skin, and especially our liver. And that's a super important one. But also, we have the endocrine complex. Now, I always say the complex is the herbal formula, and the soft gels is the essential oil formula. So we've got an oil formula or an oil blend, and we've got an herbal blend. These two are great for support as well as cleansing. So sometimes people use them interchangeably. Sometimes one works better than the other, but both of them are really, really important for not only rashes, but also skin blemishes. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. You really have to cleanse your skin. As far as topically, though, we have HD Clear. Now, we have a whole HD Clear set. I didn't get the other 2 items. We have the lotion and the cleansing cream. Together, I see some of these teenagers have, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, HD Clear is great for any type of rashes, and you can apply that topically, as well as our Melaleuca and our lavender. Both of these, all of these are really good for topical rashes, okay? So, Shayla, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, great. Why don't you share your story about your sweet little newborn baby and her rash?
Okay. Well, first off, I wanted to say, when you were talking about the sunburns and that blend that you did, so I actually burnt. You can hear her in the background. Sorry, we're driving, so she's not very happy. I got her face was sunburnt within the first week because she had jaundice, and I didn't know she could get burnt under a tree shade, but she obviously did, and she was a huge cherry tomato. But using that, it helped it go down drastically, and it was pretty bad to where we thought it was going to blister, but it luckily didn't. So that, I will say, is a great blend for burns. But as for her rash, so about a month old, a little bit before, maybe 3 weeks old, she started getting her baby acne. And then I started noticing that it was like going down her neck and her chest and her back. And then after like a week, I realized that it was actually a rash. It wasn't baby acne. And so I started kind of researching, and I realized, well, I saw a lot of people who were saying their babies were getting rashes. It was because they're on dairy. And so I went off dairy, And they said, a lot of people said that like they had drastic changes when they first stopped dairy, and so I was kind of hoping for that, but then also people were saying, well, it can't get out of your system for at least 2 weeks. But like the rash was so terrible and I felt so bad, and so I actually called Arlene and I was like, what can I do? Like, I don't know what to do. And so she was giving me suggestions, and one of the suggestions that she said was rose oil, and I was like, oh, I have the rose oil, the touch, I'll just rub that on her. And so while she was laying on me, I just rubbed it all over her back and just kind of like massaged it in. The next morning the rash was completely gone. The weirdest thing, completely gone. Only on her back though, which was where I rubbed it. On her chest it was still there, on her neck in front was still there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I rubbed it only on her back and the rash was gone. And so I continued to put that on after that, and the rash would fade. It would start coming back, but like after, like I said, after 2 weeks when the dairy was completely gone, it actually just disappeared. So like that was the main reason, but the rose touch helps 100%.
Great. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
Shayla.
Yeah.
Then did you end up putting the rose oil on her face or her chest?
Yes, I did after that.
And did it help there too, or?
Yeah. So the reason why I like bring it up that I only did it on her back is because I knew it wasn't a coincidence that it just like disappeared, because it was only on her back that it was completely gone. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And so after that, yeah, I started putting it on her face and her neck and her chest and back. And yeah, it all went away.
Did it go away as fast in those areas?
Yeah, like it helped it. I mean, like I said, it didn't make it go away completely. Like I had to continue putting it on because obviously the root cause was the dairy. But yeah, it helped drastically.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
My baby's got a spot on her face, and I don't know what it is right now, but thought I'd listen in.
There's a lot of people say the rose oil is like great for everything, especially the skin. I would try it. But yeah. I mean, all these suggestions are great that we're talking about. But yeah, I definitely believe that rose oil helps 100% with that rash.
Yeah, I'll probably try it tomorrow to see.
Great. Well, perfect. Well, these two moms with their babies, yes. Glad we have some great things for babies. And I'm going to finish off with babies and then we will go to you, Myrna. The best thing for diaper rash too is this sun skin protection oil too. Remember the fractionated cocoa, the lavender, the helichrysum. Anyway, this is such a great oil for diaper rash. I have found, oh my gosh, but the rose oil touch would probably be a good one to choose too. I think this will be a little bit less expensive than the rose touch, but they're both great oils. And I think that they will both be really good for the diaper rash. But anyway, okay, Myrna, tell me what you are dealing with and see if maybe what we've gone over, do you think that will help you? There you are.
Oh, hey, I never done this before, so it's something. Okay, cool. Actually, I did post back when you asked me on Facebook what happened. My husband had bought some, like a men's soap, and it smelled really nice. And this was back in March. And so when I was showering, I used it. And then I think I remember like in my sleep, my leg, my shins being real itchy. And in my sleep, I was scratching them like probably couple nights in a row. And then next thing I know, my legs were like just all scratched up. So it was probably just my dirty nails is all I can think of. It never bled. It just really got like, it just looked like I was scratched really bad. And so it didn't occur to me to do anything. I don't know why. So for like 2 weeks, and I thought, gosh, this looks terrible. I need to do something. And so I immediately thought, about putting aloe vera gel from one of my plants out back. And so I put that on there, and I noticed that started to like scab it up a little bit, but it was still itchy because I think, you know, when skin starts to stretch, you know, tighten and stuff. And then I thought maybe I should use the frankincense because I looked up like itchy skin in my book. And so I started putting the frankincense on there. And yeah, it's been several weeks, but it's getting better. I can tell it's not as red, but it does get itchy still. Like right now it's itchy.
The frankincense touch is what you were using then.
Yeah, I've been using that for like the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you might want to try the rose touch. And I think
right now.
okay. Well, you might want to order it. That's like I said, that's I know it's one of our more expensive oils, but let me tell you, that's a really, really good go-to. Now, I remember Emily sharing in convention, and you know,
There's a reason it's expensive.
There's a reason it's expensive, because it's very powerful.
Yes.
Yes, but she was sharing about what do we call it? Very intense skin sores with, you know, trying to be compliant here. And she just really helped us understand how important that rose was for these very intense skin issues that her daughter was experiencing. So rose touch is great. I think frankincense is great too for a lot of different things, but I think for your situation, you might want to try the rose. HD Clear might be another good one.
Which one?
HD Clear.
HD Clear.
And this is the HD Clear one, more for skin blemishes. But
for blemishes?
Yeah.
And the other one is more like for itching and stuff? The rose is more for itching?
Well, the rose is more, it's just for those intense skin issues.
I heard
it's just like frankincense.
Yes. All right, thanks.
So if frankincense is not really completely taken away, I would definitely go to the rose. The rose touch. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we have not a whole lot of time here. I need to get through this. Troubled skin, facial blemishes. What do you do there? So sometimes that's a hormonal or liver toxicity. So again, your first go-to should be these endocrine formulas. I'm telling you, this is the thing for kids that are going through their hormonal periods and they break out with acne. Let me tell you, these are one of the best things that you could start with them with. And then, of course, the HD Clear Skin Set, the oil, the lotion, the cleanser. That is super, super important for troubled skin issues. Also, if it's a hormonal thing, the phytoestrogen complex is a really, really important thing to take along with it, because if it is a hormonal thing, and many times it is for kids or, you know, teens, so we can start them on the phytoestrogen because it could definitely be a hormonal issue, and most of the time is. Other hormonal issues, you know, sometimes it's the Clary Calm that's really good because it can really help with those issues. Frankincense also is really good for topical skin issues that may be like facial blemishes. But another one that is super, super good, and Lucy, I know your mother was talking about this one. She kept wondering what happened to her Correct X, and Lucy's brother was actually stealing it for his facial blemishes. So this works really good if you have kids with any type of facial blemishes. He was going through this Correct X like crazy, and it really works. So of course, remember all those wonderful oils that it has in it: the frankincense, helichrysum, cedarwood, melaleuca, and lavender. So good for any type of skin blemishes. Canker sores, cold sores. My first two is always melaleuca, tea tree. Whoops, I'm sorry. Yes?
Hi, Erlene. Remember the moisturizer blend we created? meeting.
Yes.
My teenage granddaughter uses that on her skin, and that really helps improve preventing breakouts.
Absolutely. And tell us what the formula was. Because
Oh
we
my.
did 2 of them, didn't we?
We did
Was
2
it
of
the
them.
morning formula or the evening?
She only uses the daytime one, but it has melaleuca in it. So that really keeps the bacteria on her face down, which is really critical. I'll put myself back on mute and go look for it.
Absolutely. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's see. We were talking about cold and canker sores. All right, my first go-to is melaleuca or tea tree. Just dotting it on inside or outside the mouth. Both of these work really well. Or either one works really well. The other one, if it just isn't quite kicking it, is Melissa. Melissa, I have people just really say that this is the only thing that will take care of a cold sore. So I know it's definitely a pricey oil, over $100 for this little tiny bottle, 135 or 100 whatever, lost track, but it is definitely worth it for those types of needs. So just remember, Melissa, if you can't get rid of those cold sore and canker sores. And also keep in mind that a cold sore or canker sore is something going on in the gut. So if I have something, I'm not only dotting it here, but I'm taking it internally. And usually I'll just put a couple of drops on my tongue, but I'll do that every time I'm putting it topically as well.
When you
Either
use it, sorry.
Go.
I wish I could like raise my hand in it, so I'm not sure how to do that. But when you use it topically, do you dilute it at all when you put it on your face?
No, I don't dilute it. I just put it straight on. Now, if it's a child, you may want to, but usually on your lip or inside your mouth, either one, you can put it on straight. And that's usually how I do it.
Do you know if they offer a Melissa touch that's already, because I know they've got the Melaleuca touch, I think.
Nope, we don't have a Melissa touch.
Okay.
Might be a good one to have as a touch, right?
Yeah, I know it always brings the cost down a little bit. So like with the rose oil, you get a bottle of it, it's ridiculous, but having the touch is a little bit more reasonable.
And the price is really based on how much oil is in there. So we know that there's hardly any oil in rose. It takes a ton of it to get that little tiny bottle, literally a ton.
Yeah.
So
They said like 10,000 petals for a drop or something crazy.
it is
Yeah.
expensive because we have to use so much plant-based to get that. Okay, let's go on to bites and stings. So if you know it's buggy season, make sure that you have the TerraShield. TerraShield is definitely the go-to when it comes to bites and stings. Now, there is the TerraShield in the bottle, and I used to always just get a few drops and pat it all over and go outside, or before I went outside. But also now we have the spritzer in the spritzer bottle. It is in oil base. Now I actually, sometimes I like the oil base, sometimes I don't. So you can also, I have I think it's a 1 ounce spritzer bottle that I just put in like 10 to 12 drops of TerraShield and spritz it on every time I go out. It still works for me. So I really like that. And I've had some people say it never works for them. They still get a lot of bites. And I've been told that you might be low on B vitamins. So this is before you go out, and it will shield it. If you get bitten, bug bites or mosquitoes or whatever, then Purify is your go-to. Lavender also works, and as well as Purify. Basil is another one. Basil doesn't smell too hot, and so I don't necessarily like to smell like basil, but I definitely love Purify. Purify is a great blend that purifies the air, but it's also really good for stings. Any type of bee stings, stings or bites.
We always use On Guard for bee stings. Is that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know. I mean, that's just what we had been doing was On Guard mixed with the clay and apple cider vinegar.
Mm.
But
No.
I had never heard otherwise. So
okay, well, Purify
good
worked really good for me. And that's usually my first go-to for my granddaughter got, I don't know what she got this past week. We're up at our place and she just woke up the next morning and she was covered. I don't know if she got them in the evening or what, but I just covered her with lavender and Purify and she seemed to be able to get through it pretty fast. So
good to know.
Hadn't heard
of the itching.
Yeah, great for itching and great for calming it. The lavender is good for calming, but this Purify is really dealing with the sting itself and calming the sting and really helping there. So love the Purify for any bites or stings. Okay. All right. Next one is warts, moles, any type of questionable skin issues. So my oldest daughter had something on her face. She just kind of felt like it was kind of a sunspot. She was getting a little bit worried about it. So she started applying Immortelle. It's in a roller bottle, but is not diluted, as well as frankincense on it. And she started doing this every day. Now there is frankincense in Immortelle, but she wanted to double up on the frankincense. And she just kept putting it on 2 or 3 times every day. And in about a week, actually, she was washing her face and it just rolled off and it has never returned. So frankincense is really good for types of moles or those questionable skin issues. Frankincense is usually the go-to. Now, if it's more like a wart, then usually it is oregano that you are going to want to go for, or a skin tag. Now, sometimes skin tags, sometimes people say oregano, sometimes they say frankincense. So I always say, make sure and have these two handy. In fact, sometimes for warts, people feel like the best formula is actually the frankincense and the oregano together. So at any rate, oregano is this really hot oil. You'll want to make sure and get a toothpick and just stick it in there and then poke it right on the wart itself or skin tag. Don't get it on the rest of the skin or it will start burning. If that happens, then that's where you grab your fractionated coconut oil, because this is a really, it's a really hot oil and you don't want that in your skin and it will start burning. So again, be careful with oregano. If you ever get it on your skin, don't go for the water, go for the oil. And it works really, really well. Okay. Let me see what else I was going to consent. Well, I said frankincense.
Arlene, I have those recipes whenever you're ready.
For any type of, okay, Barbara, go.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Go ahead and share with us what is good for the skin blemishes.
Yep, so this is what we came up with just as a daily moisturizer for your skin. We came up with a daytime one and a nighttime one. So the daytime one is 1/2 ounce of castor oil and 1/2 ounce of jojoba oil, 3 drops of frankincense, and then 2 drops of myrrh, melaleuca or tea tree, lavender, I can never say this right, copaiba, copaiba, and helichrysum.
Copaiba or copaiba. Okay, you're going to have to say that. 1/2 ounce each of jojoba and 1/2 ounce each of castor. Then,
and 3 drops of frankincense,
okay,
and 2 drops each of myrrh, tea tree or melaleuca, lavender, and the copaiba, and helichrysum. And then I apply this after I wash my face in the morning. And I only use, I just use water. I don't use anything else on my skin. And this, and then I put the sunscreen on that we make, the recipe that you gave them. And then at night, 2 ounces of fractionated coconut oil, 7 drops of the Immortelle, 2 of lime, and 2 of melaleuca again.
okay. And this is what your granddaughter, is she using both of
She's
these?
just using the daytime because she's,
Just daytime one.
yeah, it's a little bit, she
Okay.
started using this about a year ago. And it's the only thing she uses on her skin. And she just has started her period and was when her hormones really started to get going, that, and I noticed that, and it really makes a huge difference for her. But she needs it simple. So we stuck with it. I said,
Absolutely.
why don't you just try the daytime one and make sure you wash your face at night and put it on again. And it works for her. She very rarely breaks out.
Yeah, one thing that we figured out for this class, we did a skin moisturizer class, and Barbara was really good for helping us understand how to make these foundational bases. But when it comes to the essential oils, I just wanted to share one quick thing that we learned here, or kind of a realization. So lavender is something that you calm and you sleep with, and you normally add that on in the evening. And your citrus oils is something that's energizing, uplifting, and you normally use those more in the day. When it comes to your skin, you're going to do them just the opposite. Because lavender is a good sun protection and is really good to protect your skin during the day, where your citrus oils actually are photosensitive. And you don't want to use your citrus oils on your skin because of that photosensitivity. So, but they're really good for regenerating the skin. So you want to put those in your moisturizer for night. So just keep that in mind when it comes to moisturizing your skin and protecting your skin. You want lavender on in the day to protect your skin from the sun and UV rays, and you want your citrus oils on at night to actually regenerate. So kind of an interesting thing to learn there. Okay, that's all I have to share. We shared so much tonight. Does anybody have any questions or comments on anything that you've learned? You are probably muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, I have a question. On that diaper thing that you were showing me, that diaper cream, what's the ingredients on that?
That was the sun skin protection oil. Same thing. Yes, did you take notes on that?
So that's for diaper rash too, or?
Yeah, it is great for diaper rash.
Oh, okay.
I've seen my granddaughters put it on their babies. I wish I'd have had it when I had my babies, but man, it works faster than anything. It is so amazing. But it's got that lavender, the helichrysum, the myrrh, the Roman chamomile or rose in the coconut oil base.
Oh, okay. And then use that for a diaper rash then?
Absolutely. It works really good.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to try that out.
Best thing ever for sure. Any other questions?
Could you, I came in late and then I was still doing dinner, but could you type up the recipes that you went over today and just send those out in a text?
I could.
It doesn't have to be fancy.
Okay, let me see. I don't know how. Is everybody a members of the 28 days of free giveaways? I can
Yeah.
post it on there. If everybody's a member, if you're not on the Facebook, that is my Facebook, and I've been terrible at posting lately, and I apologize. But I will get all that typed together and I will put it up on there. Give me a couple of days maybe, because I'm not sure how fast I can do it, but check back there and I definitely will put that on there.
Like I
Yep.
said, it doesn't have to be fancy. Just text to speech it and send it in a text. I wouldn't mind.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you're on. All right. Anybody else have any questions or requests or comments or?
Can you hear me, Arlene?
I can.
It's Tiana. Hi.
Go ahead.
My question is, I have a couple brown spots. Did you say that the Zendocrine oil helps with that?
Are you talking about more mole type things or no?
No,
Kind
they're
of
just like kind of brown,
brown
you know, like a blotch.
I think that would be
Spots.
definitely the Immortelle or the frankincense or frankincense touch. I would go with these, the Immortelle or the frankincense.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's really, these are so good for skin. I think that they're tops for something like that. Any other questions? All right, hope you learned a lot. You know, and keep coming to these classes. We want to have a variety of topics and a variety of presenters, but we want you to keep learning how to use your oils. And I know we have tons of skin issues going on. So we need to know how to use our oils and what the go-tos are for these different areas of our skin. So hopefully you learned a lot, and I will get those things together and those ideas together and get those posted really soon. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming. Make sure you invite your friends next week to the 5:30 Pacific time so we can introduce them to essential oils, and make sure and come to learn more next week at 6:30 Pacific, and we will see you then.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Arlene.
You're welcome.
It was great.
So glad you were on. Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.